Hi, good morning, boys and girls. Here's another lesson with Mr. Guerra. Now, today we're going to be talking about fractions. On our last assignment that I just gave y'all, we were doing fractions. Well, we had a couple questions about fractions, and unfortunately, those were the most missed questions. So that's what I'm going to be going over today. We're going to be going over equivalent fractions and comparing fractions. However, we need to be able to recognize fractions as well. So, for example, I have this fraction up here at the top. Whenever we look at it, we see that there's two equal parts, right? And there's one shaded part. So our fraction is going to be 1/2, right? Now, when we look at this one, there's four equal parts and we have two shaded parts. So our fraction is going to be 2/4. Here's 8, 4 shaded, 4/8, 6 equal parts, 3 shaded, so 3/6, and then 3 equal parts, 2 shaded, so it's 2/3. I'm going to go ahead and put the fractions up here for y'all. So you see that? 1/2, 2/4, 4/8, 3/6, and 2/3. Now, when I'm talking about recognizing fractions, right, is this one, for example. When we look at this one, and if the word problem tells you which fraction is equivalent to this one, you should be able to look at this and look at the other ones and automatically say, well, these are equivalent to this one. And I'm going to go ahead and make lines for y'all to the ones that are equivalent to 1/2. So that one, that one, that one. Now, I only see these three right here because before we went on the break, a lot of y'all had recognized that one is half of two, right? Two is half of four, four is half of eight, and three is half of six. So that's why all of these are equivalent, are equal to each other, because they're all half of the whole number. Now, why do we say this one's not included with these? Well, let's take a look at it. There's three equal parts and there's two parts shaded. Now, is two half of three? No, two is not half of three. So this is why 2/3 is not equivalent to 1/2. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you a different way to look at this. So I'm going to clear these out. So I'm going to make one with six equal parts, right? And then I'm going to make another one with three equal parts. Okay. So we have one with six equal parts and we have one with three equal parts. So see right there, it gives us our denominator already. That's the total amount of parts that it has, the whole, remember? So I'm going to go ahead and color in two of these. So that takes our fraction for this one to 2/6, right? Now, if I told you what fraction is equivalent to 2/6, you should be able to look at this one and look at this one. Even though the denominators are different, what do you think I have to do? Right, just color in one part. So what fraction is equivalent to 2/6? 1/3, correct, right? So that's how you tell, that's how you recognize that fractions are equivalent to each other, is even though that the denominators are going to be different and your numerators are going to be different, they're still equivalent, they're still equal to each other. The only thing is we just added one more line to there, we just made six equal parts. Okay, now another thing y'all were having trouble on was comparing fractions. Remember, we compare with the greater than, less than, or equal to sign, right? So whenever I was looking at y'all's work, it's like we forgot how to do that. So here is a quick review on how to compare fractions. So there's a couple rules whenever comparing fractions. And I shared with you these rules before we went on our break as well. I know it's been quite a bit, but hopefully what I shared with y'all, stuck with y'all for a little while. So whenever I told y'all, I'm going to go ahead and make a fraction here. So there's one. I'm going to make them both 4 equal parts. So my denominator is going to be 4 for both of them, right? So my denominator is 4 for both of them. That is the bottom number. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fill these two in. And I'm going to go ahead and fill these three in. Remember, when I told you that the denominators were the same, you compare the what? You compare the numerators, right? Now, whenever you compare the numerators, the bigger the numerator, the bigger the fraction. As you can see here, both of these have 4 equal parts, but the 3 is bigger than the 2. So, of course, that the alligator is going to want to eat the most, right? It's going to want to eat the 3/4. So that's how you compare them. Now, let's take a look at a different number. So I'm going to go ahead and go with 8. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and go with 4. So now my denominators are different, right? But take a look at this. I'm going to make my numerators the same. Okay. My numerators are going to be the same. So I'm going to have 3/8 on that one. And I'm going to have 3/4 on that one. So remember, I told you whenever whenever your numerators are the same, you look at the denominators. Now, this is different than comparing the numerators. Now, the denominators, when you compare them, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. Again, when you're looking at them and your numerators are the same, you compare the denominators, right? The smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. You can see right here, we have 3/8 right here, and we have 3/4 right here. Well, which one looks bigger? Yeah, 3/4. So I want to eat that side. So again, whenever the numerators are the same, right? That's the top numbers. You compare the denominators. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. Okay? Now, whenever your denominators are the same, you compare the numerators. When you're comparing the numerators, the bigger the numerator, the bigger the fraction. When you compare the denominators, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. You got it? Okay, so that's how we compare them. Now, what if we get something like, let me erase this, get y'all a clean board. Okay, so what if we get something like, I don't know, let's go with 10, okay? And let's go with 6. Okay. Oh, So I'll make this one 6, and then I'll make the next one 10. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade in 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Now, this one, I'm going to shade in 6 parts. Uh-oh. So what do we do here? How do we figure this out? If both the numerator and the denominator are different, how do we figure that out? Well, I just showed you one way is draw it out, right? Draw it out and see which one is bigger. Whenever you're looking at this, which one has the most pieces? Which one is taking up the most of the fraction? Right, 6/10. So in this case, I want to eat up this one because there's more of it. I like more. Okay. Now I'm going to show y'all something a little different. So we have 4 equal parts. Then we have 6 equal parts. Right? Well, this one I'm going to shade in 2. This one I'm going to shade in 3. So which one is bigger? That's right, none of them. They're equal size. They're both. Oh, I made that one way too big. Let me erase that. They're the same. They're equal to each other. 2 is half of 4, 3 is half of 6. So what kind of fraction is this? It's an equivalent fraction. That's right. Okay. So this is exactly how we compare fractions. I showed y'all how to recognize fractions. I showed y'all how to compare fractions. If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So this week's lesson, it's going to have fractions, but it's also going to have word problems and geometry as well. You know, do your best. Take your time. You have all the way until Friday to get them done. Okay. There is no rush to get them done. Take your time, but make sure you get them done. Okay. So until next time, this is Mr. Guerra signing off.